about Goldberg? What do you remember working with Bill?
Well, do you remember I was the one that gave him a start?
Talk about
the first storyline when he walked out. The storyline was he stole Steve McMichael's Super Bowl ring.
Right.
And that was the first time the fans saw Goldberg.
What are your memories of working with him as far as like behind the scenes? Was he easy to work with?
Very easy, classy. Again, he had the NFL
mentality.
Yeah, so we were used to that, and so we were sort of close knit because we were more the outsiders because we were from the NFL.
Right.
So he was, yeah.
Did you see any of the guys ever pull ribs on him? Because he got he rose to the top real quickly.
No.
He didn't really pay his dues. Did you ever see like any of the veterans take advantage of him, or even with Steve too as well? Because he was getting a big push, and there was guys around the business.
No, Steve would never, because Steve is not that type. Steve's more, hey, good for you, buddy.
Right.
Steve's that
He's
personality.
Humble.
Steve's very humble.
Right.
And Steve would be more than happy for someone just to move up. So that was, but the other guys, I didn't see that either. I don't know if I just wasn't aware of it, or maybe I wasn't.
What are your memories of Chris Benoit and Nancy?
Oh, we had so much fun. I remember one time we were making this commercial in Birmingham, Alabama. It was a commercial. We were in a western town. Do you remember we were riding horses? And
I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, and I remember I learned how to ride English style, just so I could learn, because I was Queen Debra, so I didn't look snotty.
Right.
And I actually would take classes on how to ride a horse, English style, with the little English get up. But no, I remember that, and just how fun that was, that 2 days filming there for that commercial. I think it was we were in for a pay-per-view or something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Was it a vignette, or was it a commercial for a pay-per-view?
No, it was all of us. You know how it runs in.
Yeah, everything just goes together.
Yeah.
As far as what happened later down the line with Chris and Nancy, I mean, what are your thoughts on that whole tragedy?
No, I mean, it broke my heart. I mean, because I cared about these people, and it really was so sad. But with me, and when I did the thing on Fox, I had to come to terms with that, and I know I got probably a lot of heat on that. But people that know me know that I'd never, ever, ever talked about what happened to me. And I felt so guilty. Even to this day, I felt like being married to the top star, that I could have maybe talked to Nancy if she had known this about me and said, hey, can I know I'm supposed to talk about this, but can you help me? I feel really guilty that maybe I could have made,
right,
one slight difference in what happened.
Back in the day, did you sense any trouble between the two?
No.
Right.
No. Not at all.
Did something happen with Nancy and a razor blade back in the day?
Oh, yeah. I remember when I first came into the business, and she's like, yeah, Debra, you have to really watch the fans. And I was like, what? She's like, oh, yeah, when I go down to Mexico, she says, I have this razor blade, and I can put it in my mouth. And she goes, I have it in my mouth, and I can flick it around, see it. And she rolled it out on her tongue.
Wow.
She said, that way if someone grabs me, I can cut them.
Oh.
And I was like, ooh, man.
Were you surprised about that?
Well, now I wouldn't be, but then I think I'd just been around the business for a month.
Right.
Coming from the NFL I was like, oh, okay.
It's pretty wild. All the people that passed away, whose death hit you the hardest?
I would say Nancy.
Nancy.
And Chris, that whole thing there, that one did me in. That was like, whoa, that one, yeah.
Do you have any theories of what exactly happened, or you don't even know?
No, I just, that happened with I was on the Fox News and about 15 shows, and then I figured, something good's got to come out of this, so I trained at the Safe House in Denver.
Right.
And so I would go around and speak to high schools and stuff and try to help young girls.
Right. We'll talk about that coming up, definitely. Do you feel that pro wrestling was a toxic environment for women?
No, I would say it's no worse than anything else you would get into. I think it relies on the person. I think it depends on you, because life is hard anyway, and I think it depends on you as an individual,
right?
How you handle it.
Okay. How come you never spoke out earlier, I guess, against domestic abuse? And what prompted you to do so?
Well, I never did before. I had a 2-year gag order on me before, and then I really didn't want to talk about it. I wanted it to just go away. Like I was embarrassed by it, and I just wanted to start over. And then when that happened with Nancy and Chris, boy, that was it. That was the trigger that got me. I was like, okay, I could have made a difference. So from now on, I'm going to make a difference. And that's when I decided to work with Safe House and speak to high schools.
Right. What do you say to your critics that say you only did so when Chris and Nancy did for publicity. What do you say to that theory?
You know what? I could have really got a lot. Publicity's not, I mean, that's easy for me to get publicity.
Right.
It's not, no. It was a point that I stand to this day on, that I believed in what I did, and I won't back down from that moment, and that was what I had to do then, and I don't back down from, that was a good choice I made.
Okay. Any interesting stories of doing the talk show circuit back then?
Oh, with,
Just any different talk shows you went on? Any?
oh, when I was doing all the Fox stuff?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was out of control. It was, they were calling me, and then the Hannity and Combs, they just loved putting me on there. But again, it was very passionate to me, and this was something that I wanted to speak out on, as you could tell in my interviews. I was very passionate.
Right.
I tell it the way it is. And it was just crazy on how, yeah, I had to turn down a lot of shows, and it was...
Did you do Nancy Glass too, or no?
Did I do what?
Nancy Glass, her show?
No, she's not on Fox.
Okay. I don't remember.
They called me.
Right.
They called me, I remember, but I just stuck to Fox because I like their reporting.
Right.
And they don't edit
Unbiased.
you out.
Right.
And they'll tell it the way it is.
What are your thoughts on the interview segment you did with Bill DeMott?
Let me think here. What, refresh my memory here.
I think he got on you. I think he might have been against you a little bit.
Oh, probably. You know what? During those interviews, I haven't looked at some of them, but I remember when I got on those shows, I was ready to take on. I was like, well, I've been married to Steve Austin. I think I can take on anybody.
Right.
Arguing, oh yeah, I can stand my ground. Because you know what happened to me, I believed in this cause that I was standing up for.
You also got to work a lot of angles with Owen Hart, who's a notorious ribber in the business. What are your memories of Owen?
I remember one time we were down, it's just shortly before he died, we were down in Orlando. I think we were doing an appearance, and he had somehow switched out my sunglasses to this ugly, raggedy pair. And I can't believe I put them on. Because, you know, fans around, you're talking,
right.
and dressed like this, and I'm not paying attention, and I walked all the way to the limo, and then I looked, and he was laughing so hard. I mean, these were just some hideous-looking glasses. I didn't even know they were not mine.
That's great.
I mean, it's one of those things you had to be there to make it, to see how funny the story. It's not really that funny when I tell it. You had to be there to see it. And, you know, and he was so good at, okay, Debra, stand up here, let me take a picture. Okay, and then the fan will be grouping all over me, and I'm going, okay, take the picture, Owen. And I was like, oh, something's wrong with the camera. And it'll take like 10 minutes for a picture.
Any other good rib stories as far as Owen goes?
It was just constant with him. Just, I remember before he died, we were in Chicago, and he was out there with 2 different boots on. Just if anybody would even notice. It's just, but you know what's odd? He would always be the one in the limo with the seatbelt. He was always the one with safety. That's just what's, you know.
What are your memories of the night that he passed away?
I can still see that plain as day. Just, I knew we were, you know, I was going out to work with Nicole Bass. And
that had to be like pulling teeth.
Whew, that's a big lady.
Yeah.
That's a big lady. And I just remember I was sitting there, everyone started screaming, going, oh my gosh, Owen just fell. And we were like, what? And then it fell like 90 feet or something like that. And that just didn't sound good. And then all of a sudden we had to do our live interview, which was hard. And they're going, you know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And you're clicking into it. And then I could see Owen about 10 feet from me on the stretcher.
Did you know, or when you saw him, that he already passed? Or?
Well, you know, it was sort of hard with the camera on. But just knowing the situation, the 90 feet or 60 feet, you know, that just, the whole thing. And that's when I broke out of my character. And then it was really hard for me to go out there and stay focused in the ring.
I was going to ask how you did it.
Because it had the hole in it and some blood they wiped up. And that was a little hard on them.
Do you feel the show should have been stopped?
I don't know. I think I was in shock. I'd never been through something like that. So I don't know on how that works. You know, maybe. But then again, I'm not running a big, you know, billion-dollar company or whatever, you know. I'm not, that would not, I'm sure, I don't know if I owned that company, I would have probably done the same thing Vince did. But me being, yeah, I did.
As far as, before that happened, do you ever remember hearing Owen saying he was scared to do the gimmick?
I'm I remember talking to Owen on his way up there, and he had a work jumpsuit on. Those people that work on the stagehands,
Right.
like a jumpsuit with his cap pulled down, so no one would pay attention to him when he climbed up. But he never really said that to me. I did hear that though.
Yeah.
I've heard it through some boys, but I can't remember who told me. I just remember hearing that before.
Was there any outrage from any of the guys in the locker room for going on with the show at all? Was anybody vocal? I know McFauley was vocal a little bit, but...
You know, I can't remember. I swear, I think when you're in some kind of drama like that, it moves so fast that it's just, you can't believe it's happening.
How difficult was it for you, I guess the next night on Raw when you cut the promo? And do you feel that Vince was pushing the guys to do that? I mean, do you feel he was taking advantage of the situation for ratings?
Well, he isn't that business for ratings.
Right.
I mean,
It's true.
yeah, it's a catch. It's like, well, maybe the fans want to see our reaction because people loved Owen so much. Or then again, was it a rating? So it's sort of like I can't tell,
Do you feel that Vince ever showed remorse?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.